Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So we want to speak to the astrology that's happening around the time of February 22nd, 2022. It's interesting. There's a lot of culminative energies happening around this time. What we want to focus on is the transits of Mars and Venus. So Venus, as many of us might know, was recently in a retrograde period. And a few weeks ago, she ended the retrograde and she's moving back to where she was when she first began moving retro, when she first began moving backwards. So within the next week, we're actually finding ourselves moving to a culminative process. And at this time, she's joined with Mars, and together they're both moving into Pluto. So there are several things happening. Let's flesh this out and really feel into what's unfolding. The first piece here is to appreciate there is a culmination. For the past several months, with this Venus retrograde, there's been a deep reworking of our own inner values. Not just like, I'm worth this is who I am, this is what I'm valued, but a knowing of self that's not conditioned by all the things that we've learned, and thus a greater capacity to be met and to meet in intimacy when we're not carrying all of these assumptions and constructs that say, this is who you have to be. This is what it has to look like. This is the form and the way in which I want love to look. There's a lot of deconstruction that's been happening. And this particular time, with Venus moving back to where she was when she began moving backwards, symbolizes a sort of harvesting of the teachings that we've been learning. And so I would just define this as, we're learning that our self-value and our worth is not defined by our appearances, by the form, by the boxes that we're checking, nor is that of other people. It's in the quality and the depth to which we live in this moment, our capacity to feel, our capacity and openness to listen, to really open ourselves to true intimacy, which is of this moment. It's not of the past, not of the future, not of a construct. And moving towards Pluto, we can say it this: Pluto always breaks down everything we're holding on to. It brings up our attachments, where we're saying, I need to hold on to this control. This keeps us from our power, it keeps us from our joy, it keeps us from true inner security. And so we can embrace this time as a deepening into the source of our own security, and where we can commit our own relationships and our journey in relationships to greater depth, greater presence, deeper listening, deeper feeling into, a deeper being with, so that we're putting the truth before anything else, because everything else comes and goes. But the truth is so stable, it's so reliable, and real intimacy, real love can emerge from the truth. So that's my initial insight and reflection on that.
And when we think about this period of retrograde, Venus was going backwards through the sign of Capricorn. So she first started the retrograde with this conjunction to Pluto, and now we are here back together, but with Mars, and they'll be both making that conjunction to Pluto. And this is a part of a larger unfolding story between the masculine and feminine dynamics within our own lives, within our own, where our will and our desire and our deeply seated values have come up against a deep process of transformation. It's been much of a solo journey for Venus, going back inside and almost rediscovering her commitment to herself, so that she can come back together into relationship, into whatever it is that she's giving her life and her energy for and towards, and that union is coming together from a place of a new awareness, a new growth, and a new process that's been unfolding over the last several months. The last time they made a conjunction was back in August of 2021, and that was in the sign of Leo. And so now here we are, they've come full circle together in their journey of dancing together and then separate. And after they make this conjunction and they join with Pluto, they're going to spend the next 5 months moving at a pace, unfolding what this is like over time. And it's really like the deepening of our own sense of value and our own sense of connection, and the places in our lives where we've really done that resurfacing work to get to the core of who we are. Then we come back into relationship, and now we have a new journey to walk together. Now we have a new way of relating to the world around us that comes from a deeper anchoring within our own value and our own love, the truth of who we are, the nature of how we were born to be in this world. So I feel like there's a deep healing that will come then in the months follow as that work, the work that's been done, continues to unfold.
Would you say that this is sort of like a birthing of a new phase of discovery? It's like, what is it like to love myself in this new way? What is it like to show up in relationships in this new way? Because it feels like with all these Pluto transits and this retrograde, there's been just a lot of shadow work, right? A lot of deep inner process.
Well, if you think about all the ways that we've been conditioned to believe that love is, or that relationship is, or that our value is, or who we are is, and where those voices come from patriarchal, institutionalized sources, or even ancestral family sources, that whole process of unraveling those beliefs. And then now we're having to come to a place where who we are, what we believe about ourselves, what we desire, and what we choose to be in relationship with has a new foundation to be built upon that has come from a deeper inner place, and that is so unknown to us. When they move into Aquarius, it's really like moving into the unknown territory of what relationship and love and values are, when we actually we're not operating from those old constructs.
And to offer some perspective, I mean, Venus has been in Capricorn since like November. And so both Venus and Mars will be in Aquarius in the first week of March. So right now we're just in this period where it just feels like we're at the very end of this really deep internal process. Also Venus and Mars they're both morning stars. Venus just in the last month became a morning star, which means you can see her in the morning before the sun rises. And there's a sort of freshness of energy there. Just imagine the energy of Venus and Mars rising together. So we're just beginning to see the emergence of new life, new experience, new journey. And there's something to say about wherever we are right now in terms of all things Venus, right? So relationship, intimacy, sexuality, also self-value, money, pleasure, security, all of those things, they're actually all pointing to an inner state, right? We can get stuck in thinking that outer things determine our own value and worth. I just want to offer that blessing and perspective that wherever we are right now, at this time in relationship to all things Venus, internal relationship to self, and how we're holding with ourselves, that we just honor there's a healing, there's a strengthening, and we have to just trust the journey. Mars and Venus moving to Pluto says there's just one more Pluto transit here.
And interestingly enough, the nodes of the moon moved into the signs of Taurus and Scorpio, so ruled by Venus and Mars/Pluto for the Scorpio, and so there's a larger cycle that's beginning to unfold within our own deeper healing work, that this sort of culmination of this period is just marking the beginning of.
Yeah. So wishing you many blessings and joy. And here's a great analogy: stability and peace in the midst of all change. So we're demonstrating that our value isn't dependent on the changing. It's something that it's the garden that we're tending to and cultivating within. Thank you all for listening.
Blessings on your journey.